All right, so what's up, everybody? I'm Raz. I'm the owner of Pod on the Go, and most of you watching this right now are going to be podcast studio owners, so I'm going to start giving tips for podcast studio owners. I owned 2 in Savannah, moved into my first studio. I made a lot of mistakes with it. I'll get into that in another video later on. And then I moved into a second studio, which was awesome, but then I moved. And I love it because it's inside my home. We got a new home, and I have space for a studio here, so I have a cool setup. But I want to pass on the things I learned, the knowledge I gained from opening my own studio. And I began Pod on the Go because I saw the need where it was so hard to get clients. It's so hard to show people, especially in smaller towns, a slower town like Savannah is, as far as podcasting goes, how important a podcasting studio is, and how having a better setup, how having a better studio space, a better look, a more professional atmosphere could really increase their business and the dividends and the clients they gain, and how it can make it just easier for them. Just plug and play. You just show up and I do all the hard work and you bring the content, the beauty of a studio. So what you guys can do to really crush 2021, right? 2020 has been a hell of a year. We're going to look back on this year 10 years from now, 15 years, 50 years from now, and say, how crazy was 2020? A year that had so much promise. How crazy was that it all went down like this? And things have changed drastically. Everybody's familiar with Zoom. Everybody's familiar with podcasting. Now everybody wants to create their own content from home. Everybody's doing live streams and videos and podcasts and ordering microphones and setting up studios in their home. Everybody's trying to do it themselves. Nobody has any real expertise. And most people get stuck on the simple stuff because there's a learning curve. Like what we do as editors and studio owners, it's a skill and an art. Here's what you can do. And what really worked for me, and I'm going to tell you what I did right and what I did wrong with this tactic that I used all of last year, but really for the last 2 years. Start a meetup. Go to meetup.com. and start a local podcasting meetup. Wherever your studio is, if it's in San Antonio, if it's in New York, start a podcasting meetup. And I've done it with my business partner, Tyler Edick, and my good friend, Henrik DeGure. And we started the Savannah podcast meetup together. And it went strong for like all of last year, even virtual. Like we started it with before COVID was really a big thing. And we did it in person a few times. And we started it after, we kept it going after COVID just with Zoom meetings. And we've invited, other podcasters to come speak and give their advice and tell about their story. We have given tips on how to monetize a podcast. I went to Podcast Movement a couple years ago in 2019. So I gave a synopsis on that 1 month, and it just put me in a position to be known as the podcast guy in Savannah. I had the first podcast studio in Savannah, started the first podcasting meetup. I did, one of the first podcasting gurus or whatever you want to call it in Savannah, and just helped a lot of cool people, met a lot of cool people. The things I did good is I started that. With that, I was able to meet people who were wanting to start a podcast, who had questions, and I could position myself as an expert in the field, and I am. All right, so here's a few more things you can do to make sure that your meetup, even if it's virtual, is successful. Normally, you'll have food, snacks, drinks, whatever. Like normally you're doing that, but because you are virtual, none of that's going to matter. You can't do that. What I suggest, normally I would spend $20 to $40 on a meetup if it was in person, buying snacks and food and fruit. Why not try doing a giveaway? Why not try a gift card? Keep people engaged, get more people coming to the meetup and staying throughout the entire meetup. Do a random gift card drawing at the end of your meetup. You can give away randomly. You can figure out some type of way. Just give people numbers, have people sign up for your email list, and everybody that signs up gets entered in the drawing, and then take a picture of whoever receives the gift card at the end. That's a great way to do it if it's virtual. Another thing you can do is make sure to keep people engaged. Make sure you have a list of questions that you can ask people before and after. Engagement is really hard because it's awkward. You can't break off into groups and socialize with people, but that's a big part of it, meetup. People want to socialize with you. That's the purpose, to get out, meet new people, make a connection, shake hands, kiss babies, all that stuff.
but you can't do that virtually. So make sure that you have a list of questions or something that can keep the conversation going, and make sure you ask everybody something and write down some of the things they tell you. Whether it's their podcast, their name and their podcast, keep a notepad nearby while you're hosting, and make sure you have details on every person. A little bit, just a little note so you can get a reminder. And I think that'll help keep people engaged and also help people to come back to the next one because they've actually received some help. And another big point of it is don't get discouraged. Some meetups are going to be huge, where you have 100 people sign up and 100 people say they're going to come. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really matter because this is content you can record and post to your YouTube channel, content you can record and share to Facebook and Twitter as well. So that's another thing. It's like, it's not one and done and everybody forgets it. You can record the content. You can record the meetup and post it, write a blog post about it. You can tweet a clip from it. You can post a part of it to Instagram. You can, convert it to audio and start your own podcast for the meetup that goes on your company website. So it's all types of ways to flip the content. So even if nobody shows up and if you're still putting out great content, you're still sharing valuable advice, then people are going to come back. People are going to watch it later. Even if they sign up and can't make it, or they sign up and they forget, or that something comes up and they can't log on, don't fret. Record it and you have content to post later. Also, like I said briefly with the name it something extremely simple. And so people know exactly what they're signing up for. Name it Your City Podcast Meetup. That's it. Or Podcasting Meetup. Make sure people know where it is, what you're doing, and how they can join.
Another good thing is that I was able to do it in person. I met a lot of new people. Like, meeting new people is what you want from a meetup, from a podcast. You want new clients coming to you and associating with you with somebody who knows what they're doing. That's the next thing I would say, is that it helped me begin a community. There were 4 or 5 people who we just clicked with, and they just kept coming back each time. And it was really cool. We all got to know each other a little bit more. We got to help each other with each other's podcasts. We left reviews on their podcast. We subscribed. We shared it. We followed, all that stuff. That's the beauty of a community. What could I have done better? I could have had things to sell there. A lot of it was like, let's just do it, but I didn't have anything prepped to sell. Like, I could have sold t-shirts. I could have sold courses, online courses. I could have sold all kinds of different types of merch or ebook. If I had an ebook, I could have, some kind of little pamphlet, anything. I could have given them something while they were there with me. I could have followed up better. Honestly, I could have followed up with each person on an individual level and just touch base. Whether it was like LinkedIn, I could have connected with them there on LinkedIn and asked some questions and seen how the things were going and offered any kind of help. I could have followed up with people who were interested in starting a podcast and given them send them a course or a lesson on how to start a podcast, a pamphlet, something on, what equipment to buy, what options for equipment they could get. If I could have had some of that stuff ready that I could give out as either a freebie or something I can sell, then that would have been, 10 times better. It would have been worth my time. A lot more. It was still worth my time. But, I could have also used it as an income opportunity rather than just a lead generator. So that's probably the biggest thing I would recommend you do. So I would say start a meetup wherever you are, especially in 2021, even if it's virtual. Reach out to people, post it on Facebook, share it. The beauty of meetup.com is that people will find it naturally. There are people on Meetup searching for podcasts all the time. That's the beauty of it. People have time now. They're at home. They're looking for things to do. They're looking for how to create content and show them exactly why you're the expert. So that's what I would do. That's my tip for today, is start in 2021. Start planning now. It's December of 2020. In January of 2021, you have a couple weeks when I put this out. Start planning and people will find you. People will love it. And you'll find supporters. You'll find friends. You'll find new clients. And it's just one thing that most podcast studio owners don't think about, because we get so caught up in the day-to-day. We get so caught up in the editing and running the business that we forget we have to also work on the business. So starting a meetup is a really easy way to invest in your company that will help you crush next year.